We are vastly superior to humans. You know it to be true, so do not resist us. Coming to you live by a tape-delayed basis by means of digital distribution. This is Extreme Hardcore Nerds. Here are your hosts.
Ready, set, game on.
Welcome back, and it is now time for us to discuss reviews. And actually, ironically enough, this is the first time we will have one of these in this segment. A movie review!
Again.
We like to keep things
Why don't
shaken
we
up
do
a
like a
little
lot more movie reviews?
We've done movies.
We've done movie reviews, but we've done them as their own
Separate
thing.
thing.
Yeah, this is the first time
The
we've
first
actually
time it's in the
thrown it.
show.
Are we doing like
There-
a Superman review? Or not, Spider-Man review when that
sure
comes
we will.
out?
We'll probably.
Probably.
I mean,
yeah.
we did an Avenger episode.
We'll probably do Spider-Man. We'll probably do Dark Knight Rises.
we'll
Oh, we're gonna do
Expendables.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell we're not.
So,
Fine. Then we're doing a Spider-Man review. There's no way in hell we're not. And you know what? To buffer, you also need to review the Ultimate Spider-Man Season 1.
Okay, what's
Children.
happening with this movie
You watched the
this
first
Superman?
so yes, and actually, I was going to say, just because I want to hear it come from his mouth first, Superman versus the Elite. Gunner, I turn it over to you, sir. Let us hear your thoughts and opinions on the movie.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, quick brief synopsis of what Superman vs. the Elite is classic Superman story. You know, we already have established character, and all of a sudden there's this complication. Is what Superman doing the right thing? And this is in the case of when he saves the day, it's never in death. It's never his judgment because he's not the law and justice. He is just a protector of the law. So he always gives them to the authorities, turns them in, they can serve their time. But he is not judge
He
and
does
jury.
not see himself above the law in
Yeah.
any way.
So that's the underlining tone of this whole movie is who's right. All of a sudden, this group comes in called the Elite, which features Manchester Black, who has psychic abilities. The Hat, which can pull anything out of his hat, including spirits. I don't remember the girl's name.
Wait, spirits of beer?
No, spirits as in like...
Yeah, like he can conjure.
Yeah.
There's beer.
Forms.
And there's
No, yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember the girl's name, but she has like leech powers, like...
Yep, she has serpents.
Yeah.
You know, that
Oh,
she
okay.
Can fly, and then I don't remember the other guy's name either.
I don't think we ever did get his name.
He has a name, but he kind
That
of...
guy.
I don't want to say it.
The big black guy.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
The dark one.
But
The
yeah,
Irving with the chains and some running clothes.
He is in chains. He's got chains around his arm that he broke. He also has dreadlocks.
Hey, it looks like he's
wait,
wearing
does
either a
he have
prison
big
uniform
pants?
or a Confederate uniform.
Wait,
Yes!
does he have baggy pants?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, he's also a big ass dude.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Please tell me he's spoken jive as well.
No, but he did have that familiar African American accent.
He also has one
What
eye.
he's spoken click.
No, I.
Anyways.
Down that road.
He has a. He looks like an.
Woosah.
Okay,
Woosah.
he's basically Static Shock if he went down a more darker path
If you took Static Shock and put him in the Hulk's body.
Oh, that's creepy.
and down a dark path. That's
Yeah.
this character. He's got like static, energetic power. Anyways, these four show up, start saving the day. Superman's like, cool, I could always use help, but you know,
First meets him. Hi, how's it going?
yeah, stay within the law. That's all he says. They're kind of buddy at first, but then the Elite go and do the radical. What's the villain's name? Atomic Skull. Yeah, Atomic Skull, you know, we see him, Superman puts him away, he gets arrested. He breaks out again, causes more havoc, but causes death. The Elite want to kill him, and Superman wants to have him arrested again. But everyone's watching, and this is, you know, the underlying tone. Everyone's like, kill him, look at what he just did. You know, Superman's put him away how many times, he keeps getting out and killing people. Something has to be done to that further extent. Superman's kind of outcast from being a superhero, and the Elite kill them. Next day comes around, there's this war going on. Keep it spoiler-free, I'm guessing.
As much as possible.
Okay. Anyways, something happens, causes Superman to go over the line. He's now got to take the Elite out because they have gone above and beyond their power.
The Elite push Superman's hand.
And in one of the greatest fights ever. Oh, it's so good. And for me, this is
coming from Mr. Anti-Superman.
Yeah,
to hear
this is the one Superman story I wanted to read.
Is this live action or cartoon?
Cartoon.
Oh,
but it's in a collection because it was like a single issue in the story, and it's in a collected issue.
It's Action Comics. I can't remember the exact issue number. It's with the Blu-ray, but it's like whatever happened to Truth, Justice, and the American Way.
That's the one, yeah. But it's like right in the middle.
Yeah, and I mean it's a thicker book, so it's not in price range for what I want to read for one story. So I never got around to doing it. This came out, and this has satisfied my need for Superman for a long time. This is, I mean, my grips with this movie were because it was Superman, and that's it. This movie was really well done. It's obviously animated towards adults, as you find out when a couple words are dropped you weren't expecting to hear.
I forget, someone said that he said something like really stupid. It's a really, really dumb word.
A lot of swearing?
No,
it's not a lot. There's a couple, though.
There's a couple curse words, but it's one of those... Ever since the Superman Doomsday movie, their animated movies have gone that PG-13 tone. Mm-hmm. So they've upped the ante from there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. The one thing, I know I had said it when we first saw the trailer, and I think you had agreed with me. I was really worried about Manchester's voice. He sounded really weird, but it ended up working out. His voice actor did a really good job. Once you see the whole finished product.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a lot funnier than I was expecting. I don't know how Superman really is for a comic as far as humor goes, but there were a few really good one-liners in there. My favorite one was when he first meets the Elite. He just kind of like, hey, how you going? Or whatever. And the Hat walks up and he's like, you're really tall. Like, yeah, they don't get out much.
Yeah, no, it was it was a really, really good movie. I mean, it was solid.
A really, really good comic.
Yeah, I mean, it's solid on its own, and it brings up that age-old question, especially now with like when after like. I mean, we're how far removed from 9/11? We still have the war on terror going. We still have pretty much the war in Afghanistan, and even though it's technically over, I mean, we're still in Iraq. I mean, we still have all these conflicts throughout the world.
It fits.
Is that moral? And I know this was a topic you wanted to do for an afterthoughts. How far is too far for a superhero? I mean, do they see themselves above the law to the point where, yes, for the greater good, they're willing to kill someone, or do they take that Superman approach that no matter what, I believe there's still good in humanity? Yes, I understand the system's not perfect, but there's more good out there than there is bad.
Which I always find is wrong.
so therefore, I'm not saying, yes, and even though I have all this unlimited power and all that stuff, I'm not going to kill. I'm not going to go above that line because, there's no need to.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I really like this as far as a Superman movie goes, because if it was Doomsday, it's who can throw the harder punch for a fight. This is a more mental, moral battle.
Yeah.
And it's that struggle of that line that
Superman
he walks
getting that pathos walk, that talk that we
every
always
day.
want.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one scene in the movie that actually was really, really hard hitting. It's these 4 kids are just playing in a playground. And one of them's dressed up as Superman. The rest of them are dressed up as the Elite. And he's like, that's not fair. I don't want to be Superman. Why not? You said you wanted to be Superman. But that means you guys can kill me, but I can't kill you. Well, that's the point. Well, how's that even fair? You know, and that's coming from like an 8-year-old child.
Yeah. 8-year-olds in comics can figure it out.
Oh, I know. So, and I mean... And like you said, the fight, it was...
Oh, so good.
I'm not going to get...
Fighting, like talking kind of fight? Or,
kind of.
I mean... It's not like talking.
It's
like
more
they're fighting and they're screaming at each other.
In his own way, Superman shows the world what would happen if he actually let himself off the chain.
It's really hard to explain what happens without spoiling a lot of it. You really just should go watch it.
I will.
Yeah. And, you know, and there's one point where they cut to the UN and they're watching this happen on the moon and stuff. Because that was his last request was, we don't do this in a populated area.
Was it all 4 of them versus Superman?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which there's a couple little scuffles they have earlier in the movie, and it's very clear that in the current state Superman was in, they could kill him easily.
Yeah, because he wasn't willing to cross the line.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, so they're doing this, and like I said, they're showing the world what would happen if Superman just uncorked and let himself go. And there's one scene where they cut to the UN and this gal just stands up just mortified and goes, that's not Superman. And the guy standing next to her goes, I think it is now. You know, just realizing what they've pushed him to.
Yeah, what he is capable of.
Yeah.
And he always holds himself back because of that. And I thought that was a really interesting aspect.
And it's one of those.
Nice
it's like
defining moment.
Yes, it's one of those. I mean, everyone, you know, well, not so much with the new 52 Superman because they've tried to make him more edgy and more stuff like that. But everyone's always looked at him as the big blue Boy Scout.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've always admired.
It was
about
a really
Superman,
redeeming feature to see him in that style.
is that, you know, it takes, and same thing with Batman. It takes more strength not to kill the guy in the long run and do what's right than it does to just say to hell with it and, you know.
Saying even what's right, but more or less what they believe.
See, especially when you do see that and they're like, you know how you said, that's not Superman. It is like, you're like, that's not Superman. That's not what you're supposed to do. Stop doing that.
Yeah, that's what they're all freaked out about is when he finally starts taking it.
But
there.
that's the
They're
funny
like,
thing.
what the hell? No, this isn't Superman. He can't do this.
And that's
yes, I can.
but it's the more thing is like, no, this is Superman. This is just what you haven't seen.
Yes.
This is what he's always been. You just don't want to see it.
So, and I mean, and it goes back to his upbringing with Ma and Pa.
Sitting on the porch, eating pie, watching the sunset.
and Pa even going, you know, talking about, he's like, yeah, had to shut up the neighbor because he was talking about the Elite. He goes, great, even Smallville's turned against Superman. Not all of us, but don't worry, I know you'll do the right thing. And even if you and even when it comes down to it, I know you can kick that Manchester guy's ass. And that's coming from Pa.
Paul's an old fighting dog. Yeah.
So I mean,
it didn't feel like there was much out of place. It flowed really well.
Yes, I mean the story was put together very well. It you can see him struggling this entire time with that moral dilemma, and even asking that question, you know, can Superman follow the world to a place where it's going? You know, like you said, there was the one part where the Atomic Skull gets it, but the only reason Manchester did it was because the son of one of the guys who is Superman's main
he was a
activist
professor
in the UN just died. And his son is literally sitting there holding his body. You know, so he's overcome with emotion and everything, and he tells Manchester to pull the trigger.
Doesn't make a that was something that actually kind of bothered me, was his body stayed intact, but everybody other body that got killed, dust. Yeah, except for his, even though it's all gray, looks exactly the same, doesn't fall apart, completely undamaged.
I understand.
Now that might play into
that's the science part of me that's like
playing the visual part where I said there were some. I've heard some inklings that the art, while good, wasn't.
But I mean, it's the more emotional side of it. That you're seeing a son who just saw his father killed.
I thought it would have been more for that fix. It would have been way better if he would have walked up to him and then he would have broken in half.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it would have had a stronger impact. Like when he's like approaching him, if he's still staring down and then losing it.
Like now he can't even, and even more so. It's like now not only did I lose him, I can't even bury him.
Yeah. I have a question.
What's up?
The last battle, was it between the 4 people in one, or so the 4 people?
It was the 4.
It was the 4 members of the elite versus Superman.
So then they killed the atomic.
This is before.
This is one of those actions that led to the big fight.
They kill the atomic skull, and this is where Superman and the elite are no longer buddy-buddy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then it leads up to another conflict that happens.
A world. We'll just say a world conflict that the elite decided
to handle their way, and Superman tried handling his way.
And Superman just kind of
it breaks him.
Yeah. And he punches Manchester in the face.
And then it's all caught on camera.
And Manchester basically just says, well, everyone's going to remember where they were the day Superman declared war.
And he basically gave him 24 hours to live, and it's on.
And then we go to the big
and then they start, and that's when I think they hit him right away, don't they? And then that's when he's like, I want my one request not here. Or is that before the fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like he punches Manchester, and then they declare that this is what they're going to do. And the sun rises. You see Superman standing in the street. They all show up in their own ship. That's kind of explained later.
Yeah.
And they're like, "So are you ready?" And he just kind of looks around and he goes, "Just not here." And they kind of make the joke, "Oh, the last request from the dying man. Fine, we can do that." And then they teleport to the moon. There
was one other thing I have a tiff with. It might be better explained in the comics. When we first see the elite in the foreign country, they're fighting that giant bug creature.
Yep.
One of the things that really bothered me is the bug creature looks very similar to the spaceship, which really looks very similar to the spirits, and looks very similar to the serpents. Like, they all have a very similar eye structure, face structure, and it was really hard to tell, was that a biomedical or a bio weapon, or was that something the elite made to show up with?
I think that was just a bio weapon.
I'm assuming that's what it was.
Just because if they would have done that part of it, you would have seen somewhere along the line, to make that connection, you would have seen the elite talking with government officials of that country.
Yeah. I'm just saying it was really hard to tell watching the fight, was this pre-planned or not, because
they were looking at the way of how to unveil themselves.
Yeah, it looked very, and it's another art animation thing that just bothered me. So,
but no, I mean, all in all, this is probably one of the best animated movies DC's done.
Cool.
This is probably the best Superman movie they've done.
I mean,
live action or animated.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just because I'm saying it because I'm a Superman fan, but no. Yeah, I know, right?
I'm saying it as someone who really doesn't like Superman. Go watch this.
So it's definitely worth it.
So now here's the question: buy, rent, pass.
I would say this is buy.
Buy.
So this is where I'm going to call into question if it's worth the buy or not. What are the special features on it?
Special features, you get 2 documentaries, one on the elite, one on them asking the question, like, in our world today, would a character like Superman be able to fit? You get the first look at the Dark Knight Returns, the next animated movie. Mm-hmm. You get 2 Superman episodes from the series.
Okay.
You get a few trailers. and I think there's like a first look at a couple of the previous movies. I think they had like Batman Year One on there, and I want to say like Public Enemies.
Okay.
So there is a lot of content. Now, here's my kind of cautious rating. As you know, if you haven't heard our afterthoughts, I brought up the question of, is animation mainstream enough for people to enjoy? I loved this movie. Don't get me wrong. If this is a buy, if you like animation,
I love digging up old scabs.
you have to definitely at least rent it, though. If you're conscious about it being an animated movie, rent it first. But everybody should go see this movie regardless.
A lot of the animated movies lately that have been coming out have been very well done.
No, and like I said, you have to go listen to our afterthoughts.
Yeah, we're not going to bring up that discussion
because that
again.
was a 2-hour discussion on its own. Like I said,
that I wasn't there for, but had the pleasure of listening.
you have to see it. That's all I'm saying. At least rent it. I'm not saying it's a buy. If you are totally okay with animation, it's justifiable to buy it. If you're cautious about it, do whatever you have to do. At least see it.
And
watch it.
I'm not even going to say as far as the animated part of it. If you want, I mean, even if you're a Superman fan or not, if you want just a good movie, this is worth having in your collection.
I'd even say that is good enough to say, especially for a superhero movie.
Yeah, especially if you like superhero stuff, this is a definite buy. I mean, if you're not so much into superheroes or this or that, but even just as a good, like I said, moral movie, a good, just a good action movie, it's worth having.
There's lots of reasons.
Yes, so it's worth having in your DVD pile.
I give it 2 goats up.
Really? That look like devil horns?
If you're gonna play off that justification, goats and devil, it's a complicated crossing.
I know, that's why I
never could understand why he did that. It made no sense to me. All the time. Just seriously, anything else on the world, and you choose those 2 things.